So you did it. You spent weeks, maybe even months, building this absolutely beautiful website. You hit that launch button, and then nothing. Just crickets. It kind of feels like opening a brand new shop on a street that nobody ever walks down. So how do you get people to actually find you online? Well, that's the whole puzzle that search engine optimization, or SEO, is built to solve.
To really wrap our heads around this, let's use a fantastic analogy. I want you to imagine the entire internet, this whole World Wide Web, as one giant, sprawling subway system.
Every single website, every blog post, every product page, it's all a unique stop on this massive map. And we're talking billions of them. So here's the big question, right? With all those stops out there, how does anyone, whether it's a person or a search engine, find your specific station? Okay, so if you want to get your stop on that map and make it a popular destination, you first have to understand how the map is even built. So let's start right there with how search engines actually work. It all really boils down to three main steps. First up, you've got crawling. Search engines send out these little automated programs. Think of them as subway trains, or sometimes they're called spiders, to travel along all the tracks, which are the links, and discover every single stop, or web page. Then comes indexing. They take every stop they've found and they organize it into this enormous database, basically creating that master map. And finally, this is where the magic happens: ranking. When you search for something, the engine looks at its map and decides which stops are the most helpful for your specific trip, and then it shows them to you in that famous ranked order. So, how in the world does it decide that order? Well, it uses what's called a search algorithm. The best way to think about this is like a secret, super complex rulebook for the entire subway system. It uses hundreds of different factors and signals to figure out which stops are the most popular, the most trustworthy, and the most relevant for whatever you're looking for. And it's this rulebook that the entire practice of SEO is trying to understand and work with. All right, so now we know how the map is made. The next logical question is, how do we make our stops stand out? Well, this breaks down into the two main categories of SEO: on-page and off-page. It's really all about two things: improving your own station and building new tracks that lead to it. And the difference is actually pretty simple. On-page SEO is everything you do at your own station. Making sure the signs are clear, the information is helpful, and that the subway operator, the search engine, knows exactly what your stop is all about. Off-page SEO, on the other hand, is everything you do on the rest of the map to build your reputation. It's all about getting other popular stations to build new tracks or links that point directly to you. So let's get a little more specific with on-page SEO. Think of these as the signs at your station. You need unique and accurate page titles. That's like the big sign on the front of the station. Descriptive URLs are also huge. Something like /blue widgets is way better than /page123. Then, of course, you need quality content with the right keywords. Using heading tags helps structure your info, kind of like headlines in a newspaper. And alt text for images is just a simple description of what the picture is, which helps everyone, including the search engines, understand them. It's all about clarity. But hold on, because here is the absolute golden rule of all of this. None of those technical tweaks matter if your station is boring or empty. Unique, high-quality content that people actually want to see is, and probably always will be, the #1 most important factor. Why? Because a search engine's main job is to make its users happy, and great content does exactly that. That is why you'll always hear that content is king. Okay, so what about off-page SEO, building those tracks? The most powerful thing you can do here is earn links from other well-respected websites. When a big, trustworthy site links to you, it's like a major subway hub building an express line directly to your station. It's a massive vote of confidence. You can also get listed in relevant directories and, of course, promote that amazing content you created on social media and blogs to get people talking and linking back to you. Now, just like any system, there are rules. And in SEO, there are definitely right ways and, well, very wrong ways to get your station noticed. This brings us to what we can call the rules of the rails: white hat versus black hat SEO. This is a really, really important distinction. White hat SEO is all the good stuff we've been talking about, the techniques that search engines actually want you to use. It's all about providing real value to people and playing by the rules to get long-term, sustainable results. Black hat SEO, well, that's the dark side. It's about using deception and manipulation to try and trick the algorithm for a quick win. It might work for a little while, but trust me, it's incredibly risky. So, what do these shady tactics actually look like? Well, a classic one is keyword stuffing, where you just cram a keyword into a page over and over again until it sounds totally unnatural. There's also hidden text, which is exactly what it sounds like, text that users can't see but search engines can. Then you have things like cloaking, where you show one thing to a person and something totally different to the search engine, and doorway pages, which are just junk pages built for the sole purpose of ranking for one keyword. These are all huge red flags.
And let me be perfectly clear about this. This is the warning label in big, bold letters. If you get caught using black hat tactics, it's not just a slap on the wrist. It is a fast track to getting your entire SOP wiped off the map. De-indexed. Gone. The short-term gain is never, ever worth that kind of risk.
Okay, deep breath. We have covered a ton of ground. So now let's pull all of this together into a simple starter kit to show you why it matters and exactly where you can begin. So, why go through all this trouble? Is it really worth it? Well, the data speaks for itself. Just look at this. The #1 result on Google gets a massive chunk of all the clicks for that search. It gets almost double the clicks of the #2 spot. The value of being at the top is absolutely huge, and that's the prize we're all aiming for. So to start climbing those ranks, here's your starter kit. 4 key takeaways. First, and always, content is king. Make amazing stuff for real people. Second, be descriptive. Use clear titles, URLs, and image descriptions. Third, build quality links by earning them from sites you trust. And finally, think mobile. More and more searches happen on phones, so your site absolutely has to work perfectly on a small screen.
We've laid out the map for how the internet works today, but the one thing you can count on is that the tracks are always being rebuilt. So I'll leave you with this final thought. As search gets smarter, more conversational, more driven by AI, what is the subway map of the future even going to look like? And how are we going to learn to find our way then?